Morning, Monday 21st. I know that because the lawn guy has been in existence for 11 years today. So I've just turned up to the turfing job, and the clients have bought a sprinkler. Now I bought my sprinkler and I found them using my sprinkler, not the one the all singing, all dancing one they'd bought. And what you've got all these singing, you can turn these off to make it a narrow one. You can turn the pressure up or down, and obviously you have your side-to-side restrictions. However, I need mine, so I'm going to have to take it. So there you go. It's looking good though still. I mean, it's only been a week. Well, just under a week because we laid it on the Tuesday. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was meant to be here, but I wasn't, because there was a marquee on the ground, and obviously you can't feed a marquee, so I didn't. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do usual feed, treat for any weeds if there are any, but also we're just literally this circle bit, just going to run the aerator around, just with the sort of small pencil tines on, just to create some little holes, just to let the air breathe that little bit more. Also, it looks like it is going to rain, and I think rain is due. It just means that also that rain will be caught and go into the holes, so you won't lose any to sort of run off. Not that it's really going to run off on the flat, but it just means that that water will get to the roots quicker and more efficiently, and also the fertilizer will drop down the holes as well, so that will feed the roots. So lots of positive things from a little bit of light aeration. Tuesday fortnightly mowing. Tell you what, it's nice to see a green lawn. I appreciate there's dog burn patches all over, but the client was working hard to scratch them out and seed them, maybe. But he seems to have got, oh, there's one. There you go. Must try harder, but he's clearly watering his lawn, and good for him. Put in the effort, get a green lawn out. It's that simple. Morning, so it's Thursday. So Wednesday has been for a while now a really hectic, busy day, because I'm doing more houses that I can actually fit in, because one of them's up for sale. So I've replaced that one already, but while the other one's still selling, it means it's just really busy. So I didn't film anything yesterday, but it's all stuff you've seen before. So also what it means is I have not evened out the jobs evenly, so that means today actually I have a lesser day. However, that will be filled by mowing and hedge cutting. Now, the last property I do on a Thursday I'm doing first of all, and the reason for that is then at the second one I can cut the grass, and then spend the rest of the time on hedging and not have to worry about finishing up early to go and do another job, as well as going picking the kids up. So that's the plan. However, there isn't much growth here, and I knew that. This is the front that hasn't been watered at all. This had a full renovation in the springtime and then never got watered. I'm hoping the back has been watered and a bit greener, but what I am going to do is, instead of cutting, is I am just going to punch some finger tine holes into the ground, just to help catch any moisture which could fall. It looks as though Sunday could be a little bit damp, so that will help if nothing else. And also it's I prefer to do that than just unnecessarily cut just to make money as such. So anyway, there we go. Right, so I'm going to get the aerator out and then we're going to crack on. Okay, so I'm massively impressed by this. This is really greened up from last week. Massively. So I wasn't going to cut, but I know he loves his stripes, so don't know. Definitely gonna punch some holes in it. and then we'll maybe leave it once more, cut it next week. That was the plan. See how I feel by the time I've done it. Okay, so I made the decision to cut the grass afterwards, so I'll show you it now. So on the hater, this is on setting 4. Really not took too much off, just a pick up of the leaves and a bit of a stripe up, which is what I know the client will want. One other thing here is, quite often when I'm here, the gardener's here, and this was definitely due a selective weed killing treatment. Now, when I very first met the gardener, she very clearly told me that I was not to use any weed killers or anything when she was in the garden, because she is allergic to them. I was like, yeah, fair enough, and I will respect that. So by coming in early, hours before she'll turn up, that means that I can actually spray the weed. So as you can see, you've got there's not much, to be honest. There's that patch there, there's a few along the line of the patio, so there's really not that much. It's a bit too windy for my liking, but all the weeds that are in the lawn are in the middle of the lawn, or bordering a patio as opposed to bordering a flower bed. Normally the reasons to not spray would be either it's raining or it's too windy, but at this property I have to add in the gardener. So we've got a little bit of wind, but we've got no rain and we've got no gardener, so 1 out of 3 is probably as good odds as you're going to get. Okay, so second and last job of the day. Annoyingly, at the end of that road, just to the right, the road was closed, so I got within spitting distance and then had to turn around and go for what felt like a 15-minute detour. Anyways, so we at the turf lawn, still nice and green and lush. You can just kind of see a little bit of red thread coming in, and I think that's more due to the fact that the lawn needs a feed. This wind's all over the place. Every time I move the sprinkler head, it covers where I want it to cover, and then the wind changes. So currently we're not quite getting the fence, but we are getting the road. But if I move it slightly towards the fence, all of a sudden we won't be able to get the road, and we'll be going well in through the gate, so you can't win. Anyway, so yeah, so you've got obviously a few dog burn patches, which it's a front lawn, so as people let their dogs wander in front of them, they might pee on the lawn, so there's not a great deal you can do about that. There's one notable one there, you can see, and then there's obviously that one there. As I say, there's a little bit of red thread coming in, and 2 reasons for red thread. One is the climactic, overcast, warm conditions, damp conditions. Now we've had overcast and we've got warm, kind of muggy conditions, but we haven't really got the dampness, I'd say. But red thread traditionally was a sign that the lawn needed feeding, and I can't even remember when we did this, but I know it needs a feed, so I'm banking on it being that. So yeah, so it's had its feed, and now I'm just watering it in, just making sure that it's done, because I don't want the client to not water it in, because I want this to look good. Also, when I was unloading the van, I realised I'd left the bag for the mower at the client's house, at the last property, so I had to cut it with the box off. So that was no major problem. I just made sure that I cut it quite high, which actually, in hot conditions, you want to cut it that little bit higher, and then just before I fed it, I just kind of blew off any sort of dispersed any clumps of grass and things like that. So not a bad thing to do, actually, but it does mean I'll have to pick up that box at some point, because I will need it tomorrow, even if I have to, because I'm on pickups tonight as well, whether I pick the kids up and then we have to drop down and go and get it. That will be annoying, but kind of is what it is. Never mind, these things happen. The lawn is all cut, so now I've got a few extra hours, so we'll just move on to more hedging. I've seen this one in my videos before, it's just the driveway hedge, so we'll just cut that back. Just means you can get a few extra cars in, etc. So all cut back, tidied up. As I say, it creates quite a bit of space, really. I mean, when I first came here, it was probably a good metre out here, I reckon. So to cut it all back. Just makes it easier. You know, you can get a car parked down there and open the doors. One other of the hedges that I just did was this one here. Bit of a butchering really, just to cut it back, because the John Deere tractor mower comes in through here and then up there, and it was a bit in the face. So all I've done is just kind of took the line of the sleepers there and just kind of rounded it all over. Certainly serves the purpose. Right, so it's about 3:45 now, so I need to leave at 4, so that is me done. As I say, tomorrow more aeration, and might cut the front lawns and do some aeration, and I think that'll probably be it. I cut some of them last week. One of them looks really long actually. This bit of rain over the last weekend certainly helped. But yeah, there we go. Right, see you tomorrow. Morning, so it's Friday today. So doing much the same as yesterday really, in the sense of punching some holes in the ground, giving the lawn a little light sort of cut. Now, the area that we're in, all around us are in hosepipe bands, and I can only imagine that we probably would end up being in one here. So while we're not, what I'm going to do is try to make the most of that water. So what I've done is on a very high setting, just nibbled the top of the grass off just to tidy it up that little bit. I've then run over with the aerator, pencil tine. So this is the worst bit over in this corner. This is the bit which gets baked by the sun. The sprinkler doesn't quite make it over here if the client's watering. So what I've done is run the spiker over, made a load of holes. Then, and I've already done this one, is then soaked it with a wetting agent and then put the sprinkler on. So that section here, so what I've been doing is I did everything on that side, then I then set the sprinkler up over that side, let it do its thing. While it was doing its thing, I was mowing. Then when I got halfway through the lawn, I then moved it down one. Once I'd finished, I then moved it down another one, aerated. Once I was halfway through aerating, moved it down a bit more. So now what I need to do is just spray this area with, well, I'm going to move it down one more for the last bit on that lawn, get the wetting agent in on the worst bits. I'm not doing all of it, and then get the sprinkler set up over in the corner, the worst bit, which will be the hose lock side to side one, and give that real good soaking, then pack up. Then what I'll do is I'll then put that sprinkler on, so it'll go all the way around. It means I can move the whole thing over. The thing with that is obviously it takes longer to soak it because it's going all the way around, as opposed to the hose lock one, which just goes side to side. Then take the van down the road, get set up, then nip back up and turn it off. So that's the plan. Okay, so there we go. So that is the week complete. So all 3 properties did exactly the same thing, just cut them down. I hadn't cut for a long time, so literally just took the tops off. Some of the weeds were quite high, where I haven't sprayed, where I haven't done anything really related to the lawns, because it's been so hot. Every time I've been there, it's been in the sort of the 30-degree plus, so this is the first week for a while where it hasn't been that. So yeah, so I was able to, on the first property I watered because the sprinkler was out, the hose was out, and I was able to do that. The other properties, they weren't, so what I then did is actually sprayed those weeds. So in August, what I tend to do on the project days or the lawn care days is do a couple of big hedge jobs. I've got 1 ongoing, and then I've got 3 that you'll remember from last year and the year before probably. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to start those early. The plan is to get those done, and this is only because the lawn care has kind of dried up, if you like, literally dried up in some cases. So I'll get these smashed out as soon as I can. Then what that's going to do is give me some more time in towards the end of the month. Hopefully at the end of the month I will then be able to get in the flailing work, which needs to be done, and then that means that the lawn care, the autumn lawn care, can start at the well, hopefully nearer the end of August as opposed to the start of September. That would be the plan. And if the weather breaks and we get some good rain during August, then that's great, and hopefully I can start the lawn care that little bit sooner. So hopefully that should all work out pretty well. Of course, we've got Groundfest coming up, which I intend certainly on being there for the first day, and then probably just hanging out in the evening there or somewhere, and then I probably won't be there for the second day. Can't imagine that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I get a load of people who quite often watch and then comment on other platforms. If you can make your comments on the actual video itself, it does help the algorithms and all that business. But anyways, I shall see you next week.